Thanks.
And now we're going to spend the next hour asking you about Jon Snow. That's cool, right? Okay. No, I know that you can't give anything away from season 6, really. So what we want to ask you are some behind-the-scenes questions. Essentially, can you give us an idea of what life is like on the set? We want to know who's the practical joker, or who's the guy that can't get out of character?
Practical joker. I think probably David and Dan are the biggest practical jokers on set.
Yeah.
I think all the actors are too scared for their lives to actually like make any jokes. So yeah, it's probably David and Dan.
Yeah, the creators of the show are the biggest jokers.
Is there anyone that stays in character that's completely method the whole time?
The dragons.
Dragons, yeah.
Yeah, they're really hard to have a conversation with. They're completely method.
And who's the one person that sort of always breaks character, that can't help but get the giggles sometimes?
All of us?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
It's like everybody.
Keisha, I know that you're a huge fan of the show and you read the books. Who else on set is the biggest super fan, would you say? Read all the books, constantly bugs George R.R. Martin.
I'd say, well, it's funny because we're, like the storyline that I'm in, we're all kind of new, so we all kind of had the same excitable energy. Jess Hennick, who plays like Nymeria Sand, her and I, on the first kind of couple of weeks, like couldn't breathe, like when we were on set. Like it was like we'd felt like we'd won the golden ticket. So that hasn't dissipated at all though. Like I still get very excited about it. I'm trying to think. Yeah, I don't really know. I don't work with
What was the question?
Oh,
who are the super fans?
Oh, the super fans on
super
set.
fan?
Who are in the
I
show?
remember when Pedro came to set in season 4.
Oh yeah,
and
Pedro's a
he
total
was-
super
He
fan.
was such a huge fan of Game of Thrones beforehand.
Yeah.
I remember like one of his first days just geeking out that like, he was sitting amongst Cersei and Margaery and Tywin and all that kind of stuff. So yeah, he's super sweet. Great guy.
We love Pedro.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And he's great on Narcos as well. I don't know who's seen Narcos, but it's fantastic.
Yeah, that's great. So speaking of super fans, you obviously have a lot. How has life changed for you? Do you get recognized everywhere? Is it weird? Have you had the most?
We do conventions.
Sorry.
We do conventions.
Yeah, we didn't do conventions before this. This is quite yeah. I don't know, like it's nice to kind of work on something which so many people are so passionate about. You can start up conversations with people easier. There's a mutual grounds of kind of admiration, respect for the material. Right. So, but yeah, for me personally, there's not many big changes. I still go to the shops in my pajamas. Yeah. I still eat microwave meals out of the tin. Like, I'm in a very successful TV show, which is wonderful. Right. But it's not that different.
The load is really shared. There's like a lot of cast members, so like there's something very nice about that.
It's really interesting. I mean, I probably get recognized at least once a day.
Right.
Sometimes as much as 5 times a day. Like, people approach you. It's really interesting being in different countries because different cultures approach you in different ways. Right. Like when we were in Spain, it's like the Spanish are like right there.
Very passionate, yeah.
They're
They're going for
very
hugs.
They're going for the hug.
Yeah.
Straight away.
Whereas in the UK, people are just like quickly like slyly take pictures of you, but not even make eye contact with you. They're too afraid to even get in your personal space, but they're like
British. We're very repressed.
Very repressed. Yeah. And the Americans just seem cool. Like the Americans.
Yeah,
just
you
seem
guys are just cool about it.
cool guys.
New Yorkers are cool.
So this is the point when we say we like American fans the best. Well, they're American creators of the show, so.
Yeah.
What was meeting George R.R. Martin like for you the first time?
Oh, that's a good question.
He was really friendly.
Yeah.
I remember actually, it was in Ireland, and it was in this little tiny convention, and this was before the show had even. It was during its first, stages of filming, and there must have been about, I think, 20 people at this convention, and it was amazing. Like he was just sat there, and he was talking to some of the fans and some of the actors that had gone down too, and he was just really happy. Like he laughed a lot. He was just really engaging. Wanted to hear all of our thoughts on the characters and such. So, yeah. Nothing like what you'd imagine from reading the books.
Mm-hmm. He's a really cool guy. A couple of years ago, I was having a conversation with him at the San Diego Comic-Con, which I'm sure a few of you have been at, right? And he was talking about the early days, because he went to San Diego when it was really, he's that old. He was like trailing the stalls for like artwork and comics when he was a younger man. And I think he kind of misses that he can't just stroll around anymore. And he looks so distinctive with the cap and the suspenders that I think there's a little part of him that is just pure geek, and he kind of misses just being able to walk around and merge in. But I was like, you could probably do it and pretend that you're someone dressed as R.R. Martin.
Exactly, yeah.
And get away with it.
Get away
I'd
with
be like,
it.
no, I'm not really.
Because the show shoots in so many different locations, is there anyone that you actually haven't met in real life that's a big character? Is this your first meeting?
We just met.
That's incredible.
Nice to meet you.
Yeah, I mean, it's lots of, you kind of, I mean, you cross over a lot, and so you meet people in passing, like in hotel lobbies, and you kind of have that, like, oh, hey, we're working on the same thing, but there's a bunch of people I wouldn't have met, I don't think.
Right.
There's so many to, like, go through in your mind
I know.
as well. Like, oh, it's like I'm like number 78 on the cast list. Like, it's a long, long
A lot
list.
of people.
Yeah.
Is there anyone that you hope to work with that you haven't yet?
Natalie, Finn.
Natalie and Finn. I was like, was that an open question for all of no,
Jon Snow.
Jon Snow.
Nah.
We brought it back. Great.
Well, he's dead. He's dead, so you couldn't possibly work with him anymore.
Yeah, he's gone. What's that? Oops.
All right, moving away from John. So how about if you could trade roles with somebody else on the show for one day? It could be male, female, anyone.
I would really like to be Rory. I'd love to be the Hound for a day.
Oh, he's such a good character.
Because he just doesn't give a flying. He's really happy being the bad guy, but he's the good guy. He's the bad guy with the good
But
heart.
he's got the good heart. He's got a heart of gold.
So he's like the antithesis of Margaery, because Margaery's doing all that smiling all the time. So I'd like to play the Hound for the day and just be badass.
Nice.
And just get to run my sword through a few people, you know?
Yeah, it's,
Yeah, let it all out.
Did you hear that?
No.
Margaery's shade is awesome. So, I mean, Margaery is a complete badass herself. So what do you think makes Margaery such a threat to Cersei?
What a massive compliment that you think she's a threat.
I do.
Oh God, I love working with Lena so much. She's so cool. Why is she a threat? Because Margaery is trying to be Cersei. She's trying to be the mother of the king. So, I mean, she wants to have a child that is going to end up on the Iron Throne. So she's as talented as the machinations and the politics and the backstabbing as Cersei is. And Cersei knows that. So that's why they're like, it's like the Cold War.
Right.
Mutually assured destruction. But you know, it's gotten really interesting last season. So they've got new problems, those two women.
Right.
yeah.
They've got a shared experience.
Exactly. My enemy's enemy is my friend, maybe.
Right.
I mean, you know, you don't know what's going to happen. And that's the beauty of Thrones, you know?
It seemed like a little tease, didn't it? Well, why do you think Margaery would be good on the Iron Throne? You said that she knows and PR. She's good at PR, and that's something that Cersei has never sort of tried to do, appeal to the
Masses.
yeah, exactly.
I don't think that Margaery, I genuinely don't think Margaery wants to be on the Iron Throne. I think Margaery wants to be, it's a dangerous place to be. I genuinely think Margaery wants to be the power behind the throne. She wants to, you know, marry a king, be it the third one. And I mean, she's losing husbands right, left, and center. You know, have a baby and then be like Cersei and be the power. It's safer to be the power behind the throne than on the throne, right?
Now,
Definitely.
Finn, when we left off last season, you were in jail as well for homosexuality. Should we be worried about Sir Loras at all?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, he's in the hands of some very nasty people, and he's, they don't really agree with him. So, yeah, he should definitely be worried.
Have you heard from the LGBT community at all about your character? Have they embraced you? Or?
I mean, yeah, at conventions, you always get people coming up and saying they're really thankful that gay people are being represented in mainstream television and represented so well. So that's really nice. But I kind of think in a lot of TV shows now, the gay community are being, represented pretty fairly. So yeah, I think it's great. I mean, it's the 21st century. I mean, come on, Jesus. Are we really still worrying about who loves who? Come on. There's bigger problems. It's way bigger problems. Yeah.
I just heard that. What's the hardest scene been for you to watch this entire show? I mean, last season it was Shireen, and obviously the Red Wedding. Has there been one scene that you were just like, oh, I can't, it's hard?
Pedro dying.
Yeah, Pedro dying was devastating. I think I found out that I was playing Obara the day that episode aired, and I don't know if that was like pre-orchestrated, but I had a really intense emotional reaction to it. And obviously when you kind of come on board the show, you can't tell anyone anything. And so no one knew. And my roommate at the time was just like, dude, it's just a TV show. Like, why are you so upset? I was like, oh God, because that's my dad.
And that fight is so amazing, right?
Incredible.
It's such an amazing, well-choreographed fight. And Pedro, almost refused to let his stunt double do hardly any of it. He practiced that fight again and again and again and again. And he did so much of that shooting that day.
So incredible.
So, when you watch that scene and you know how much effort he put into it, only to be...
Oh. And Obara is a great... fighter as well. How often did you, or how far long did you have to train?
I did really similar training that Pedro had done, in the martial art of wushu, and I watched that Pedro fight. I know it so well because I would watch it every single day. We trained for a really long time. We didn't shoot till quite late in the season, late in the shooting season last year. So I think we had maybe 5.5 months of working together. A big part of the Sand Snakes choreography is the fact that they don't fight individually. They fight as a unit, which brings a whole bunch of scary elements, when you're dealing with 3 different people and 3 different sets of weapons. And so one of the biggest things was with Nymeria's bullwhip. I don't know if anyone's heard a bullwhip crack, but it's really, really loud and very aggressive. And so a big part of it is that we would be in this stunt tent in Belfast, and she would just stand in the corner for 5 hours cracking the whip while we trained, so that it got to a point where Rosabelle and I wouldn't jump when the whip made the sound. So because that wouldn't look very tough. Oh, what's that? Obara.
Well, bringing it back to Oberon, if there's one character that you could resurrect, who would that be? Ned. Oh my God, everyone has an opinion.
All right, hold on. All right, on 3, I want everyone to shout out who they wanted to bring back. All right, 3, 2, 1. What? I can just hear this guy that's saying Ned, so I guess Ned.
Ned, yeah.
The consensus seems to be Ned.
Personally, I'd like to see Caitlin Stark come back. I thought Michelle did a fantastic job, and
It's incredible.
I think the show's really missing a real motherly, caring character. Cersei's, she's a little bit crazy. She loves her kids, but kind of maybe in a slightly wrong way. I don't know. But yeah, I'd like to see Michelle come back.
Okay. Spoilers? Without actually getting into trouble, is there anything you can tell us about your characters from the next season?
I'm back.
You're back? Yes?
That's
That's it?
I can't say anything.
Nothing. Okay. Well, did you have what's it like on set in between takes? Do you guys sit around and hang out? Do people retreat back to their trailers?
I don't know, it's kind of chill, really.
No, we don't. No, we don't go back to our trailers. We all hang.
We all hang, yeah.
Yeah.
It's lovely. It's really nice. Like we just chill, like read books, just talk about what people have been up to. Like,
Finn is a voracious reader. He reads everything.
yeah,
He's
I've always got a book on.
You've
set.
always got a book going.
Yeah.
Nice. All right, well, we'd like to open it up to a couple questions. So whoever in the audience has questions for,
I just
Yeah,
see like a
panelists.
lightsaber back there.
there's a microphone here,
See the person.
and I believe there's a microphone here.
I feel like I have to get closer to you, Keisha.
Uh,
I can't see.
Here, let's see, they're down here. Would you like to go ahead?
Let's get cozy.
These chairs are much more comfortable than the other ones. Like,
You're sitting on doing the signing.
swapsy. Swap it out.
Okay. Well, my name's Allie, and I guess.
Hi, Allie.
Hi. So my question is,
Where's that?
and I don't know if this is actually.
Where are you?
Oh,
I was over here.
Hi.
Oh, hi.
I don't know if this actually you have an answer for this, but I noticed at the end of the last season with Jon Snow, and I'm not going into Jon Snow, like with his whatever he is, the rest of the storylines are all very female based.
Oh, yeah.
Is that something that was intentional, or is this? I don't know if you guys actually know this, but it's just something that I noticed. It was very
Yeah, I
female.
think it's an interesting point. There are very many strong characters in Thrones at the moment, and most of which are at the kind of the helm of the individual plot lines. I think it's a great testament to the show that actually it's it's not misogynistic, as a few people have said, and actually it has a lot of really, really strong, good female characters, which there just aren't really in a lot of TV shows these days. So I think it's interesting. I think it's really interesting. Maybe a woman will sit the Iron Throne.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Although personally, I think the Iron Throne isn't going to be there in the end. I think it's going to be dissolved. Like my theory is that that Valerian steel kills the White Walkers. They're going to have to dissolve the Iron Throne to beat the threat, and then they're like, wow, we've got no one's in power anymore, and then they're going to have.
They
No,
all
this is
live
not a
happily
spoiler. This is
ever
just in my
after.
head. Like,
So, do you guys have theories of your own? Obviously,
I
sit
love the
around
show.
and,
Oh, yeah.
and talk about what could happen next.
yeah,
Right.
yeah.
Okay, we've got a question over here.
This question's for Natalie. I love what you do in Elementary with Moriarty. And I was wondering if there's a possibility that you have a brother on the show who might play the actor from another Sherlock series to team up together as you and like brother and sister Moriarty versus Sherlock and Watson.
You want to bring a Moriarty from one of the other Sherlock?
No, I
Funny.
want you to have a brother who plays Sherlock already in a BBC version of Sherlock Holmes. And have him be Moriarty with you as a team to go against them.
Oh, really? Why does a woman need a man's help? Sorry.
Point, Natalie.
That was cruel of me. No, but I have to say that Rob Doherty did one of the most interesting things that had been done with the Sherlock, the original Arthur Conan Doyle storylines in making Moriarty a woman, because I think we all know the line between love and hate is very thin. So if you're going to have a nemesis, then why not make it someone that you were a soulmate with first? I thought it was a really interesting twist, to be perfectly honest. And a lot of great names have played Moriarty, from Laurence Olivier to like Orson Welles, I think, and like some great actors. So to be the first female to play the role. And I don't get to play it. I wish I was in New York doing it more often, guys. I love this city and I love the role. I really do. I have some responsibilities elsewhere at the moment. But you never know how long those are going to last. So, I'll be back playing Moriarty as soon as I damn well can, I promise.
Thank you.
Right. Okay, down here.
Hi. The costuming in the show is gorgeous. I think a lot of people can recognize the fact. Is there a costume that you kind of really wanted to like steal and take off set or anything like that? Or like somebody else's costume? Like, what's your favorite?
I think,
else's.
yeah, the Tyrells are really lucky. We have like some great costumes.
Yeah, gorgeous.
And actually, so do you guys. Like you guys.
Yeah, we've got.
Yeah.
Yeah, ours are really amazing. I don't know like how often I'd wear my armor, but if I could keep it, like I absolutely would rock it.
I'd like to keep my my green training armor. There's something about
Yeah.
that. It wasn't used that often, but it's a really beautiful piece.
The guys look so handsome in there. You always look so handsome in your like doublet.
That
Yeah.
cut, isn't it?
Yeah,
It's really
it's like that
lovely.
3/4 length cut, and men in boots is kind of sexy. So.
Yeah, yeah. although the Tyrells don't get much in terms of costumes this season.
Another
being
teaser.
jail mates, we haven't got our fineries that we usually have. So
Yeah, a sack.
yeah, gone are those days.
Are they heavy, those gowns that you have to wear?
No, Margaery Tyrell. It will surprise you to know that Margaery Tyrell's costumes were not normally heavy. Because there's so much of them.
Okay, over here to the right.
Hi. Something I've always been curious about is how many of the cast members have actually read the books, and of those, what are the reactions to how different the show has become from the book's original storyline?
So I can't tell you how many people have read the
yeah.
books because that would be weird of me if I knew that. But I
Doing an on-set survey, like, excuse me, I needed to.
but I've read the books. I love the books. I think they're fantastic pieces of writing, and I love the television show. I think the show is doing a fantastic job adapting it into a TV show and making it more streamlined and more focused. And I think all the changes that have been made are really strong changes that make for a much more concise and impactful television show. So I see them both as kind of
They're
same
very
spirit, but two kind of
separate-
entities, you know.
Separate things, aren't they?
yeah.
I'm very intrigued to kind of see after now that we're on par.
Yeah.
You know, like now it's really interesting. Now it's
now
kind
it's
of
when it gets
now none of us know. You know, all of us.
Terrifying.
That's much more terrifying.
When you get the script each week or however often they give it to you, do you sort of open it with trepidation, wondering,
Yeah, I think that's the first thing every actor does, is just kind of
yeah,
go through and see if how many episodes.
Flip
is
through,
in it, when-
Flip to the last page.
Yeah.
okay, down here to the left.
Yeah, this question would be for Natalie. Since when Margaery came into play, even before she became queen, they always dolled you up to the max on set. Now that you're in prison, it's now the complete opposite. Was it a hard change for you to go from being dolled up to
Dolled up.
trashed up? Or, and
Dolled up to trashed up.
which do you prefer when you're walking around in between?
I mean, I think the thing with the Tyrells is we always look fabulous, no matter what.
Yeah.
We may be in a sack, we may not have washed for 6
Fabulous,
days,
yeah.
but we still look hot on set. 100%.
I prefer. Oh God.
It's easier.
I like both. It's easier not being dolled up because, especially as an actress, and I'm sure Keisha can back me up here, there is a pressure to be looking beautiful and looking great, whereas to actually just concentrate on the acting and this character and looking really rough, it's quite liberating.
It's freeing, yeah.
Oh, it
really is
feels
freeing.
so good.
Yeah.
I've done it a couple of times, and I've just finished a horror movie where by the end of it, I look pretty bloody rough. And that was just really liberating, just not to have to worry about, not to like be in
Not
that
move your
headspace of not
hair.
worrying that
Yeah.
I'm meant to look good.
Yeah.
So for a woman, I don't know if it's the same for a man.
I
Finn could
to
answer
be honest,
that.
I
It's
think
liberating.
I think it's the same for guys as well. I think guys, especially these days, have to doll up as much as girls do.
Oh, yeah, there's a huge pressure.
I think there is definitely more pressure on girls, but still for guys, like there's a certain aesthetic that you need to look like, which it's like, fuck that. Can't we just like act and be the characters and not have to worry about our bloody hair, you know? So yeah, it is really nice just to let it all go and just kind of play.
Let it all hang out. You know about that, babe.
Yeah. I mean, we do that on a lot of Friends, don't we? We're used to that.
Great, thank you. Here to the right.
Hi, just to first of all express admiration for the fact that you and your fellows bring such, joy to the rest of our lives through high use of your craft and dying as often as not. But as somebody who's been reading the books for years and having had the books around for years, I have a little bit of I guess I'd say frustration that we've kind of caught up and we're still waiting for the novels to be coming and having that direct our expectations and the like. And now that we're pretty much even, and if not getting ahead a little bit in the series, I'm wondering how you guys feel about that.
excited, scared, geeky. Like I'm super nerdy about the story in the books, and just even trying to think about what happens after this. It's like it's what we talk about on set most of the time.
It's
Just sit around
It's
and-
what everyone kind of talk. Everyone kind of puts all their little pieces of knowledge together, and everyone's constantly trying to crack the code.
Yeah.
En masse, and
Yeah.
David and Dan are just very clever, and you know they're the
They're always
perfect
one step
people.
ahead.
They're the perfect people to have to be delivering the story. It's in the exact right hands with them.
Like you think you know where it's going, you like your character,
Yeah.
and you get the new scripts, and,
And-
you're going,
Oh,
think about
Yeah.
it. Like, it's amazing. Yeah.
Do you ever try to get Dan and David drunk and
Oh.
spill some secrets?
They're really good, actually. They've got a very high alcohol tolerance.
Exactly,
Try and
it's
get them really
impossible.
drunk, they don't tell you shit.
So you guys just end up getting drunk.
everyone's tried everything.
Okay, question down here.
Hi. First off, obviously everyone here loves the show. You guys are awesome. But you guys have been to so many locations, so many different places. What do you think is your favorite story from all these different places you guys have been?
I was,
Scripted story.
or
mean
like
it-
locations.
No,
or-
like location-wise.
Well,
happened there?
well, I'm really lucky because Dawn's like really hot and nice, and so we get to shoot in Spain. So it was pretty incredible. It's easy to wake up and go to work every day when you're in Seville. That's for sure.
Croatia's really nice too.
Yeah,
I love Croatia. Yeah,
Dubrovnik
Croatia's
is
beautiful.
fantastic. Like the places we stay, it's right on the sea, and it's like an old town, so you can really like feel the history of the whole town, and it's amazing, isn't it?
Belfast is lovely.
Belfast is great too.
Yeah.
Belfast is actually
It
really interesting.
rains.
There's a lot of history there.
There's a lot of rain. There's a lot
It
of
rains, but they're really, really good people.
Yeah, good
Yeah.
pubs. Very good pubs.
Yeah, we got holed up. Finn and I, in our first season, we worked together. There was like a storm. I think it was crossing from you guys. It had come across the Atlantic. And so it cancelled shooting for the day.
Oh, yeah, that
And there
was-
was
yeah,
nowhere
yeah.
else to go because we were in the middle of nowhere. So it was Geth and Anthony,
Me,
Finn,
Gwen.
Gwendolyn Christie, myself, and we literally sat in front of the fire
Drinking bottles and bottles. of red
drinking wine. And we really bonded that.
Yeah, that was
day.
wonderful.
Yeah.
That was during season 2, I remember, and it was up near Renly's encampment. So when we was up in the northern of Ireland, and we were right on the coast, and there was actually this hurricane that came in, and there was an extras tent that was holding about 1,000 extras. And whilst all the extras were out of the tent working, this hurricane came in and literally took this huge tent up into the air, and we had to cancel filming. Like, it was crazy. Just remember that.
Stop talking, you're going to be sued.
Okay, here to the right.
Hi. So, me and my mom are huge fans of the show, and like we went to like Croatia as well in Dubrovnik.
How old are you?
I'm 14.
Right on. Right on. Right on.
And we went to Dubrovnik and we did like the Game of Thrones tours and stuff like that. We saw the spots, and then I noticed like all the other places you've visited to and traveled, and I wanted to know what's been your favorite place to travel, and what place would you want to also film at?
I was really upset that I never got to go to Iceland because it's so beautiful up there, and the northern lights, the aurora borealis, are. It's really funny because John Bradley, who plays Samwell, is like, yeah, they're all right. Because he's seen them so many times.
Yeah.
And it's like, this is like a, it's like,
People
magical,
spend their whole
natural
Yeah,
phenomenon.
phenomenon, yeah.
And John's like, yeah, they're okay. Because he's like, he's over it. I wanted to go to Iceland.
Yeah, Iceland's lovely. I would love to go back to Iceland. I don't know, Croatia's pretty good. We've got it pretty good in Croatia. I don't know, there's so many places in the world. Everywhere, I guess.
All right. Thank you.
Thanks.
Down here.
Hi. Sorry, I'm really close. I was wondering who you wish your character could meet in the show. Like, if Arya met Margaery or if Obara met Jon Snow. Like, who do you think would like really turn around your character?
I reckon Loras could probably try and turn Jon Snow gay. I'd like to see that happen.
There's probably that.
And also just share like hair tips as well. It would be fabulous.
grand time.
I teach him a thing or two. Anyway.
Anyone else?
I've always thought I would love for Obara to team up with Arya because she's like, she's my favorite character, and just as for purely selfish reasons because Maisie's really awesome to hang out with. So
Cool.
it'd be great.
You'd also be like
you know.
badass sisters as well. Like, I reckon you could teach each other some stuff.
Yeah, it'd be really cool to see all those like badass girls together.
Yeah, right.
Two of you fighting together would be great.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That'd be cool.
Natalie, how about you?
I miss Sophie.
Yeah.
I miss Sansa. I do. I really.
You
I
guys
miss
were
her.
great together.
Yeah, I miss her, and I think Margaery could help us sort out. Well, she's left now, but she could have helped us sort out Ramsay.
Yeah, definitely.
So, drink this.
Okay, over here.
If Joffrey hadn't bit the bullet the day of the wedding, how long do you think you would have taken care of that yourself?
Oh, I think that would have been very quick, wouldn't it?
And second question.
What's your opinion?
Pretty quick. And could I get a selfie?
Yeah.
Can I get a selfie?
Yeah.
Right now?
Oh.
Yeah.
I
Well,
don't
come
know
on
if
then.
we could do that.
Yeah, why not?
Sure.
Why not? Come and get a selfie. But no more. This is not turning into a bloody selfie-a-thon, okay? This is one time only.
Well, while that is happening, we've got a question down here.
Hi. So, this question's for Natalie. If Margaery could bring back one character to kind of help her in becoming the power behind the throne, who do you think that'd be and why?
You mean bring back from the dead or bring back to King's Landing?
Either.
To get the power behind the throne.
What's the question?
Who would
I was too busy dealing with the selfie.
Who would Margaery bring back to King's Landing?
Who would she bring back to King's Landing?
Yeah.
Or from the dead to help
Or from the dead.
get the power behind the throne.
What's everyone's opinion?
Ned.
Ned, are you
Back to Ned.
serious? Are you serious, Ned? Out of all the characters you can bring back.
I mean,
Oberyn.
Oberyn, yeah.
Yeah.
Tywin.
I'd buy the Ned Stark suggestion. I think Ned and Margaery would be, yeah.
Oberyn, yeah.
See, but
Martell
there's so many
Tyrell.
good characters that aren't with us anymore. It's like,
Joffrey.
Yeah, who wouldn't you bring back?
Made me laugh. Okay, right over here.
Hi, my question is for Natalie, and I just want to preface this by saying you're a fantastic actress, Game of Thrones, Elementary, and so I ask this question with the utmost respect. A lot of people have noticed you bear an almost uncanny resemblance to Kermit the Frog's new girlfriend. How do you respond?
I've not
Denise,
seen this.
I believe her name.
No, I have no idea. I've not seen this.
okay, so I had dinner with David and Dan when I was shooting in Spain. I'm gonna be careful that I'm not giving stuff away right now. I had dinner with David and Dan, and I don't know if anyone remembers. I think it might have been season 3 or season 4. I'm walking along the cliffs with Sophie, and I tell her with Sansa, and I'm telling her about how I was teased as a young girl for having a snubby nose. Mm-hmm. Like Margaery is saying to Sansa, you know, I'm not perfect. I used to get bullied because I've got a ski jump nose. And I phoned, and I was having this conversation with David and Dan, because I phoned David and Dan, and I said, please can you, it's the only time I've asked them to put in a line, and I said, please can you put in the line that it was a piggy nose, a pig, because I was bullied at school, and I used to get told I had a piggy nose. I got big nostrils, my whole family does. It's a burden that we bear.
It's a beautiful nose.
So I said, and I was like, for my own demons, it would be like sticking 2 fingers up at the bullies of my childhood. If Margaery, like, you know, just joking about it. So they were like, fine, cool. And then if you watch the DVDs back, you'll see I'm walking down the stairs going, and I go, you know, and I do the pig noise. And they were really good guys. They put it in for me. So then when I saw that Kermit's got a new girlfriend, And she looks at, I was like, maybe I'm a bit responsible for that, like, because I'm the one that brought up the pig subject in the first place. But her name's Denise. I was like,
Yeah, what kind of name is that for a pig?
I was like,
She's Southern.
no offense to anyone here who's called Denise. But I was, so that's my answer to the question. I'd already made the comparison to my nostrils with a pig, so, I can't really argue about it then.
But I think everyone will agree Natalie is one of the best looking females in the world.
Oh, absolutely.
Like, without a doubt. Fuck you, bullies.
Yeah, fuck the bullies.
Sorry, I shouldn't have sworn. That's really bad. It's got passionate. It's my
I think
sister.
everyone here has seen Game of Thrones. They can handle that word. Down here to the left.
Hi.
Hi.
So I have like a funny question and a serious question. So my first thing is I work for Sesame Street. As you might know, we're now on HBO. So how soon are we going to see some sort of collaboration happening there?
Oh, that'd be so wonderful.
I'd love to see that.
But the Muppets have done like a Game of Thrones
we did
spoof,
our own
haven't
kind of
they?
YouTube thing.
They've done
The Game of Chairs.
The Game of Chairs.
Yes.
That's a brilliant.
None of
If
you guys
anyone's
were
not
on
seen
it.
that on YouTube, look it up. It's hilarious.
Seen that.
None of you guys were on it, so we got to get you guys in it. But okay, so then I have a serious question about the show, and I wrote it down. So you guys were talking about some episodes or scenes that might have been harder to watch, and so with scenes like the Red Wedding, did you expect the type of strong reaction that people gave towards it, and would you expect that scenes moving forward would be looked at differently before filmed or censored in any way? Not that I think that that's a good idea, but do you think that might happen?
What, the scenes get censored?
Like the Red Wedding, like kind of like dulled down a little bit.
I hope not.
Yeah, I hope not. But I'm just saying there was such a strong.
The thing that was so horrible about the Red Wedding is because they were such pure characters. Like the characters were so pure of heart and so like just, they had so much justice in them. And then the way they were killed was so brutal and so in your face and so unexpected. I think that's what it was. Personally, when I watched it, because I'd already read the books, I knew it was coming, so it wasn't as impactful. But I think if you hadn't read the books and then suddenly you saw like these wonderful characters just being mutilated by these horrible people, it's just it's not so much it being graphic, but it's who they were. I think that was the hardest thing about it.
And to that note, since some of these scenes caused such crazy fan reaction, do you guys ever scroll through Twitter right after the show or during the show and sort of see how people are reacting on social media?
Yeah, sometimes. Sometimes I like to check it out, and because I like to watch the show at the same time everyone else is, and I think that's what's so exciting about the show, because a whole planet watches it at the same time.
At the same time,
it's so exciting to kind of see what other people's reactions are like. So yeah, I don't do it all the time, but it's when I know there's going to be a big moment, I definitely like to read like blogs about how the episodes afterwards and what people thought about it and what people didn't like about it. It's a global conversation. I think it's really exciting and interesting to be a part of it.
Yep.
Yeah, hell yeah. She's with me.
Okay, question over here.
This question is for the ladies of the panel, but then you can answer as well. When you first get a script and it requires a nude scene, what goes through your mind? Like, am I going to do it or use a stunt double?
Shit, I better get down to the gym.
Exactly. Like, because I know for women, it's different than it is for men, because if you do it in a kind of like a dumb movie, just do a regular flash scene, then if you do it in something like Game of Thrones, where there's a reason that it's happening, and it's like when I'm watching it, I don't view it as nudity. I'm like, okay, this is happening. So how do you prepare yourself and text your parents like, don't watch the scene or?
I think across the board with any material, it's, if you're playing like a real person, like you're naked in real life a lot, and so long as it helps the story and it's truthful, and not just gratuitous. Of course, it's like, I think you mustn't get in it's easier said than done, but it's very difficult to not kind of, if you start thinking like, oh, my primary school teacher's going to see this, then yeah, it gets a little nerve-wracking. But, you have a job to do, and so you very much just get on with it. And I think, yeah, it depends. Like, it depends on the work, it depends on the people that you're working with, but you learn over time to kind of be able to gauge whether it's a safe environment or not.
Yeah, and Game of Thrones is a safe environment.
Yeah, absolutely.
You know, I've always felt really comfortable when I've been naked on Game of Thrones. Like, I've been enjoying it.
Which you are a lot.
Yeah, I've been like, great, yeah. So, it's like they keep, very minimal crew. Just realised where I was then.
It's like, oh. Okay, we will move on to a question down here.
Yeah, hello. I think everyone in this room is pretty obsessed with Game of Thrones. I know I am. But I'm about to attempt my first marathon. So question for Natalie. How do you fit in the long runs right now with your training, and how's that going with filming?
So unfortunately, I'm not running the New York Marathon on the 1st of November anymore. Oh, I know. I'm really upset about it because the promotional tour for Mockingjay 2 clashes directly with it. So it was always a bit of a punt. I was just hoping that the dates wouldn't clash, and they do. I will be in Berlin because our premiere is the next day. So I've deferred my place a year. So hopefully I'll be with you on the starting line 2016 if you want to run it again. But you should be resting by now, right? It's only 3 weeks.
One more left.
One more. What, a long run? You've got 3 weeks left, right?
4 weeks.
Oh, 4 weeks.
When I ran the London Marathon, I left myself the last month. I didn't do any long runs.
Okay. All right. Thanks.
Sorry. Oh, and sorry, that wasn't very helpful. Lentils. If you're bored of pasta, lentils are really good, slow-releasing carbohydrate the night before. A nice lentil stew. Sorry, that sounded so actory right then, didn't it?
Okay. Okay, over here to the right.
Hi, my question's for Natalie. Do you think Margaery could have done the walk that Cersei did leaving the prison?
Oh, we're in dangerous territory for the next season if I talk to you about that.
You've said plenty. Thank you.
Okay, that we cannot give away, so let's go down here to the left.
Hello. My question is to all of you, yourselves or your characters. There are a lot of sex scenes in the show, and I was wondering whether you or your character was interested in having sex with a different character that you haven't had sex with.
It's a really great question. I don't think Obara's interested in having sex with anyone, to be honest.
Maybe it's Sir Pounce. The cat. Maybe just mix it up a little bit. I mean, it is Game of Thrones after all.
Oh my God.
Nothing is sacred.
Well,
Nothing
to
is
take
sacred.
that question and lighten it a little bit, are there any couples on the show that you ship that you hope would get together, even if it's completely impossible?
2 people today suggested that Obara should end up with Bronn,
Ah.
and I'd never thought about that, and I was like, oh, that could work.
Yeah, because he loves Dawn as well, doesn't he? He loves Dawn.
He loves Dornish women. He loves Dawn. We love Jerome.
Make it happen. Let's set up a blind date.
So good. Off they go down to Planky Town, Obara and Bronn. Cup of mead.
Okay, over here to the right.
Hello, I have 2 questions. One is for Natalie. So you played the Tudors, right? And you played, I believe, Anne Boleyn. Did you take some... Yeah, great performance, by the way, even though it was a while. Did you take some of that experience and put it into Margaery? Because we know that they're both like very, they're very regal, and they.
Yeah, I mean, I was worried about playing Margaery Tyrell because I didn't want to play a queen that got thrown in jail again.
Yeah. Well, I mean, well, now.
Is that what you mean?
Yeah, like now maybe you get your head cut off
But
again.
what happened was I watched the first season of Game of Thrones, and I was absolutely I was blown away by it. Especially when Ned died. I was completely hooked. And then when I knew there was an audition, I auditioned for another role in Game of Thrones. And I will never say what that is until the series is over.
Cersei.
So I went in for a character that was not a queen that was going to get thrown in jail.
Uh-huh.
And I didn't get that role. It was given to another actress. And David and Dan came up to me and basically said, we'd really like you to play Margaery. And I was like, I'm worried about that because I feel like I've done that gig. And they said, you're going to play it completely differently. We trust you as an actress that you're going to find a different color. And I was really nervous about it, but it's only you guys, it's fans over the year that have come up to me and said, don't worry, you did all right.
Yes, you do perfectly. You do Margaery.
And now when I look back, because I played Anne for 2 years and I played Margaery for 5, I think of Anne as fire and I think of Margaery as cool, like ice. Song of Ice and Fire. See what I did there? They do have different temperaments, they really do. Anne Boleyn wouldn't be able to keep her calm the way Margaery does. No way. She'd have exploded and like been killed like straight away.
All right, my other questions for all of you. What are your theories on how it's going to end?
Ooh.
Well, because
Alright.
we know about Finn's. He's gonna.
Okay, yeah, so basically I think there'll be a huge battle between Ice and Fire. They'll have different factions. I think that Ice and Fire will completely destroy themselves in this great war. They'll destroy the whole of Westeros. They'll dissolve the Iron Throne because they have to use the steel. And then I think a lot of people will die, and then I think out of the ashes will come like the tree people and a select few people, and they will grow Westeros anew and give back power to the people. Like a dream of spring? Is that the last book? You know, this idea of regrowth. And I think maybe it'll be like Bran, Hodor, maybe Brienne, Tyrion, just some like good guys to kind of give peace back to the realm.
Great.
Right. It's a very well thought out ending.
About a lot.
Yeah, it's a very...
But knowing Game of Thrones, there'll probably be really horrible, like Littlefingers on the Iron Throne or something, or like Cersei. No hope. No.
Let's go down here to the left.
Hi, I was wondering if you had any funny stories from on set or any sort of who's your favorite person to work with on set? Sort of choose one.
No one. They're all horrible. I love working with Nat. It's wonderful working with Nat. And Gethin, I like working with Gethin as well. Played Renly.
I really like working with Jerome Flynn.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's really fantastic. He's very fun and very calm, which is nice because it's, even though, I mean, the production value is so huge and it's very cinematic, but it's still shot like television in the sense that you don't have a lot of time in the day. And so it can feel a little bit like, ooh, am I getting it right? So it's nice to have his kind of energy around. He's like one of the most chilled out people I've ever met.
That must be a lot of pressure as an actor to not have many takes to get the shot right, correct? Because the setup is so expensive and intense.
Yeah, for sure. And there's so many, there's yes and no, because I feel like a lot of the job is done for you, because honestly, like you turn up and you're on these like incredible locations, the sets are amazing, you're working with the best of the best directors and alongside the best actors, and it's very easy to feel like you're a part of the world, you know, especially with the costuming and the way you go, oh yeah, there are moments where you're like, I wouldn't be surprised if a dragon flew overhead because I'm totally in the zone. So in that sense, we're very lucky, I think.
Great. Question over here.
Hi. So my question's for Natalie. I love you. And I fell in love with you when you portrayed Anne Boleyn, and I feel like you always play these really strong women. So I guess my question is, if you could pick someone like as your ideal role, either real or fictional, who would you pick and why?
Oh wow, that's a really tough question. Sorry. If I could pick any role?
Any role, male, female, anything.
That's a really hard question, babe. I can't really. The thing I love about being an actor is you never know what job you're going to be doing next year, 2 years' time. You never know where you're going to end up. I'm attached to a film at the moment that I can't tell you guys about because it's not been officially announced. But I'm attached to a movie at the moment that is about a real-life woman who is still alive and did something really incredibly brave as far as I'm concerned. And I'm really hoping that that movie gets all its finance and then it goes next year. So she'd be right up there in my head at the moment, because as an actor, you're kind of just thinking about what's in front of you at any given moment. So cinema is finally catching up with TV and understanding that three-dimensional, fleshed out women, you know, the audience want to see that. It's economically viable, commercially viable as well. And so slowly there's more opportunities in scripts for really these female roles. And Katniss Everdeen is a perfect case in point of, you know, a flawed hero, but a female protagonist. And I am because I'm older than these two and I've been working for longer, I've started to notice a change in the female roles in scripts in the last handful of years. And I think shows like Game of Thrones are responsible for that. So I'm really excited about the future.
Down here.
If you could bring in a character from any other TV show into Game of Thrones, who would it be and why?
Ooh, I've just watched Mr. Robot. I don't know who's seen that.
So good.
And, the guy, Remy Malek, the guy that plays the guy, I'd love to see him on Game of Thrones. I think he could play a really interesting kind of character. Maybe something up at the wall or something like that. Be super cool.
Good answer.
Ooh.
Okay.
Ooh.
Do you have a... What was that? Liam Neeson.
This guy wants Liam Neeson to be in the show.
Okay, over here to the right.
You, and I will take over the throne.
Hi. My question is for Natalie and Finn. The last time we saw your characters, you were still in jail in the black cells. So my question is, if you had a choice to choose a champion for a trial by combat, who would you pick?
Myself. I'd fight for myself.
But
I don't think you can, though. I think that's against the rules.
It probably is, right?
Yeah, you probably have to choose someone else.
Gotta choose someone.
Maybe Bronn. Yeah, probably Bronn.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And are we going to see Loras do any more fighting? Oh, right.
Could I nominate
right.
you? You're meant to be the greatest knight, and
Yeah, you could.
other than
I would
Jamie
totally,
Lannister,
yeah, I
you're
would
meant
totally
to be.
be your knight, yeah,
You could champion me.
I'd have to get out of jail first, though. You'd have to like sneak.
So that would be like our loop. That would be the clause.
Okay, question down here.
Yeah, thank you all for coming. I just had a quick question on what you think Martin's historical influence was, like a specific time period or specific historical figures that he drew upon for each character.
For each character?
Well, no, just for the series in general.
Well, it's a hybrid. He knows his history.
Yeah.
He knows his the British Isles. He knows his Romans. He knows his Celts. He knows his War of the Roses. He knows he knows the American Civil War.
Yeah.
He's read his Tolkien.
There's also a lot of like pagan mythology and Nordic mythology as well, which is more.
It's a hybrid.
Everything.
He's pulled it from everywhere.
He's a brainy guy.
I would love to spend a day in
Inside his
Martin's head. Like, honestly.
Wow. Yeah.
It's incredible, his thought process.
A giant library.
Exactly.
Knowledge.
It's like, wow.
History.
Okay, we have time for a few more questions over here.
Yes. Okay. Hi. I love you guys, and I think everyone loves your characters. But I was wondering if you could pick one noble house or a noble family name to be part of, who would you guys pick as individuals to know more about you?
You mean us in real life?
Yeah, you in real life, not your.
Oh, Stark, without a doubt.
I like you even more now.
Oh yeah. I mean, that's a no-brainer, isn't it?
Yeah, oh, absolutely. Absolutely. For a long time, my Twitter handle was Keisha Stark, and and when I got cast, I got in a lot of trouble from HBO because they thought that I'd kind of was giving clues that I was going to be in the show. I was like, no, I'm genuinely sitting at home thinking about being a member of the Stark family. Yeah.
I don't know. I guess I'm a Tyrell through and through. Like, I love Tyrells. I wouldn't choose to be part of any other house.
Showing me up there, bruv. Really supportive for your sister. Thank you.
I mean, the Starks. I love the Starks. The Starks are great.
Okay, down here.
Hello.
Do you all have a favorite or least favorite moment in your own performances on the show?
All of it. I just
This has just quickly become a very intense therapy session.
That's hilarious.
I love it all. I love it all.
Favorite or worst? You mean both?
Either or.
Either or.
I like shaving a guy's chest and then giving him a blowjob. And you know what? That was my first ever day on set. My first ever day. I was like, boy, what did I just let myself in for? 6 years later. Jesus. My finest moment. My finest work.
Anybody else have a favorite scene from the entire season or from the show?
Oh, God.
You can't top that.
Where do you go from there?
Well, let's move on. Let's have one more question down here.
Hello, my name's Melissa. I love the show. I just wanted to let you know, you can't see, but I do have a shirt on that says, Sean Bean, why you no survive? If you guys want a selfie with me, I'm in the third row. Okay? I am blown away by the fact that Telltale Games actually got you guys to do the voice characterizations for the Game of Thrones game. I'm blown away by that. How did that come about? You guys are so busy with so many projects that you're in, and yet you're doing the voice characterizations for a game, a video game. It blows me away. You guys do a phenomenal job.
I think I'm taking credit for that because I think
Yes,
I was the first person to say yes. I think I was.
How did it come about?
I was just so fascinated by the idea that they were going to do that. It seems such a huge specification to me. And when we do the sessions, they last like 3-4 hours at a time. Like I've done because you guys get to click on it and decide what you're going to do. So we read the outcome of like 4 or 5 different, for every sentence. So I've done about 6-7 sessions up to this point, all 3-4 hours long. But it's really interesting. It's so fascinating I mean, we've got graphic designers in the room today, I believe, because a few people have come up, or people that want to be, that want to enter into that world. It's such a fascinating technical art form to me that I was like, this is curious. I really want to do this.
I think it's the new way of storytelling as well. Like, I've not played the new Metal Gear Solid game, but just looking at the trailer and the way that stories are now being put across in video games, it's like, wow, like they're given full license for really gnarly story ideas, and it doesn't seem like there's any limits or any restrictions onto content. So I think video games are a huge, interesting kind of platform for interesting, dynamic stories.
Long live House Forrester.
Yes.
All right, guys, we need to wrap it up. So put your hands together for Finn Jones, Keisha Castle-Hughes, Natalie Dormer, and we'll see everybody in season 6 of Game of Thrones.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you.